This is KGW News at 11.
And thank you for joining us tonight. We begin with developing news in Portland. A teacher was carjacked at gunpoint as she delivered supplies to students.
As Mike Benner reports, that was just one of the violent crimes the city's seen in just a few days.
It's an awful thing to have happen.
Awful is how authorities are describing what happened at Northeast 60th and Wygant Monday afternoon. KGW has learned that a teacher from nearby Rigler Elementary School was carjacked at gunpoint while delivering supplies to students.
And this is a person who's minding their own business, trying to serve the community in the way teachers do, and they're met with armed people stealing their, means of transportation, but really interfering with their livelihood and their life, placing them at great risk.
Rigler's interim principal agrees, writing in a letter to parents, "This really saddens us as a staff, knowing that we are trying to support our community in the best way. And to now have a layer of fear added is weighing heavy on us and the community." The president of the Portland Association of Teachers adds, "This incident is tragic and frightening. PAT has reached out to the educator and will support her in every way we can."
And this has been a violent year.
Investigators say the carjacking comes as gun violence in Portland continues to surge. So far this year, there have been more than 800 shootings. That compares to 393 all of last year. Since Saturday alone, there have been at least 5 shootings. One of the most recent, Tuesday afternoon at 67th and Killingsworth. On Monday, 44-year-old Michael Arthur was killed during an armed robbery at a North Portland marijuana dispensary. A 16-year-old was also killed Monday near 136th and Division. And over the weekend, we're told, more than 60 rounds were fired near Northeast Stafford and 11th.
Now, these are bullets that could hit anybody, walking their dog, minding their business, driving down the street.
Similar to the teacher who was carjacked by armed men, detectives are pleading for cooperation from the public.
People know some of who's committing these crimes. And so we need people to come forward and provide that kind of information. And that may take a fair amount of courage sometimes.
All right, the car stolen from the teacher is a black 2018 Honda Accord, similar to the one you see right here behind me. You can find the license plate number on our website, kgw.com. And of course, anyone with information about this carjacking or any of these shootings, pick up the phone and call the Portland Police Bureau. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
This was the big reveal today as local hospitals got their first shipment of COVID-19 vaccine. Tomorrow, the first healthcare workers in Oregon will get the shot. The long-awaited delivery came in today at Portland's VA Hospital, OHSU, and Kaiser Permanente. Other hospitals got their first doses yesterday. Because the Pfizer vaccine has to be kept at ultra-cold temperatures, it comes packed in thick styrofoam insulation and is surrounded by dry ice. For nearly 10 months, medical professionals have fought COVID-19 with defensive measures, responding after the virus attacked. These little bottles change that.
We are really overwhelmed with hope and excited about making our communities, our patients, our employees safer.
Washington started giving out vaccines today. The first at the University of Washington went to an intensive care nurse who's been working with COVID patients since the very beginning. We continue to get your questions about the COVID vaccine, from when will you get it to what happens if you only get one dose. Our Kristen Severance is here with tonight's answers.
By far our most common question into the Verify inbox: how will I know when it's my turn to get the vaccine? So we reached out to the Oregon Health Authority for this answer. A spokesman said it's going to be a while, probably spring, until the general population gets the vaccine. When the time comes, though, vaccine providers, including pharmacies, doctors' offices, clinics, etc., will be giving out the vaccine. The OHA said those providers will notify the public when the vaccine is available by posting the information online. And then you have to reach out to your provider to get the vaccine. Okay, our next question here: are the first and second doses of each vaccine the same? All right, so the answer here is yes, they are. The contents of the first and second doses of each vaccine are the same, but they function differently in the body. So the first dose is supposed to train the immune system, and the second dose will boost the immune system to its highest peak levels to give you the most durable immunity. And then our next question question, can you just get one dose if supplies run out? Okay, so this is a two-part answer here. So yes, you can do that, but according to doctors and health officials, you do not want to do that because in order for the vaccine to be about 95% effective, patients need to take 2 doses. So for Pfizer, according to documents published by the FDA, the vaccine does offer strong protection, about 53% efficacy against COVID-19 within about 10 days of the first dose. But it's unclear how long this protection will last, underscoring the importance of getting the second dose. And then that's going to bring the efficacy rate to near 95% after 7 days. And the Oregon Health Authority has said that it will make sure that everyone who gets a first dose gets a second dose. They are confident that they will receive enough allocations to do that from the federal government. Worst case scenario, some first dose allocations could be moved to the second round. But again, OHA officials said that is unlikely. And then our last question here, and we've also been getting this a lot, will the vaccine remain at the minus 70 degrees Celsius when injected? Okay, so the answer here is no. It will be thawed. The vaccine will be thawed to a liquid form of around 36 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit before it is injected. That's the same temperature as any other vaccine. Do you have a question for us? I'm sure you do. Please email us, verify@kgw.com. We will do our very best to answer them.
All right, thank you to Kristen. Now, when it comes to who's in line for the vaccine next, it's going to be up to the states to ultimately decide. Oregon's still kind of drawing up the framework for that, but there are a lot of tough calls to make in these scenarios. Among them, which age group do you vaccinate first? Young people who are spreading the virus or older people who are more vulnerable to the virus? OHA stats released this week show people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s make up more than half of the confirmed infections in Oregon. Those over 65 make up just 17%. But, of course, they're more likely to get seriously ill or die from COVID. So, who's the priority? Well, we turn to a medical ethics expert from Portland State University. His take, really, there's no easy answer. One key thing is that he said is that some see high transmission rates among young people as this sign that maybe they're behaving recklessly, when that's not necessarily true.
Many people are out and about because they have caregiver responsibilities, because they have to continue working, including in occupations that are public facing, and so there's a high risk of transmission. There's a variety of reasons why somebody might not just sit at home watching Netflix and so put themselves in a situation where they're at risk for the virus.
There's a big question mark for this vaccine. Right now, data shows that it protects you from getting sick from COVID, but we really don't know if it's going to prevent you from being a carrier and then passing it on to others. So that could be a good reason to vaccinate older people first. We have a lot more coverage on the vaccines at kgw.com. You can also text the word vaccine to 503-226-5088. And we'll send you a link to our latest stories.
Of course, the vaccine doesn't solve the spread of the virus immediately. Much of our area is still seeing high rates of transmission. Today, the Oregon Health Authority reported 54 more deaths. It is important to note those were just the deaths that got reported today. They didn't happen all in one day. Another 1,100 new COVID cases were also reported today. There is some good news, though. Multnomah County's top doctor says 3 weeks out from Thanksgiving, we are not seeing the further spike in cases officials feared. Dr. Jennifer Vines credits that to the sacrifices families made in canceling or scaling back Turkey Day plans. She says that will need to continue for the December holidays, even as we start to see vaccinations.
I think we need people to stick with us here for the sake of our healthcare workers who are working incredibly hard in hospitals and have been for months, and do similar planning as you did for Thanksgiving. Really take it down to a small gathering, if at all. Keep paying attention to the precautions that we've been recommending now for months.
Every 2 weeks now, Oregon is reassessing each county's risk level, and that determines what can stay open and what can't. Now, today, Governor Brown announced those new levels. Nothing has changed for the metro area, but several counties on the coast are now considered extreme risk, and that includes Clatsop, Tillamook, and Lincoln. And that means restaurants and bars there will have to close indoor dining. Gyms and museums will also have to close. And that includes the Oregon Coast Aquarium, which announced today they'll be shutting their doors down once again. The new rules stay in effect for at least 2 weeks until the next assessment.